All right, breaking news, and it's not good news if you're a Celtic fan. Boston's Jaylen Brown, the team's second leading scorer, at just about 25 points a game. He is out for the year. Torn ligament in his wrist. Celtics currently sitting 7th in the East at 35-33. They seem to be locked into that play-in tournament that encompasses 7, 8, 9, and 10. Where they will be among those four, we shall see, but probably won't get up to 6 and probably won't fall out of the playoffs. So the Celtics, who are currently 7, probably stay around there. They are 5-5 this year without Jaylen Brown, but for the rest of the season, a season that's been a disappointing season in Boston just got a whole lot more daunting if you want to make a run in the playoffs for the Seas. All right, let's bring in our coach, Avery Johnson. We're talking about almost 2 decades in the NBA as a player and a coach. He's a champion and an even better guy. Coach, now what in Boston? There's no Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, it's going to be tough without Jaylen Brown because, you're talking about a player that's a two-way player. This guy, doesn't have many weaknesses. He's improved his ball handling. Obviously the second leading scorer on the team. He spaces the floor for guys like Kemba Walker and Tatum to operate. So without him in the lineup, this is obviously very bad news for the Boston Celtics, who I believe has significantly underachieved this year. But they're going to sorely miss his three-point shooting, his defense guarding 1, 2, 3s and 4s. He's an experienced player now, guy that spent some time playing in the playoffs. So this is going to put a lot of pressure on, especially Jason Tatum, for the rest of this season.
All right, you were an NBA Coach of the Year, right? You're now Brad Stevens. You got to address the locker room. There's an old saying. We have a bunch of dumb sayings in my family. One of them is, don't spit on me and tell me it's raining. You can't BS these guys, but it's your job to motivate them. What do you say to your team walking in the locker room when they know they're 7th, the odds were already long, and now they're losing a guy who's putting up 25 a game?
Yeah, and I just think they're going to have to, improve defensively as a team. Because when you lose arguably, your first or second best defensive player on the team, or at worst your second best defensive player, you have to play better team defense. And I don't know if they're going to be able to play as fast because you're taking a guy off the floor that's, a terrific scorer. So I think, maybe shrink some of the possessions in the game, try to play with 10 or 15 less possessions, control the tempo a little bit more, because, just Jaylen Brown is a hard player to replace, especially within the framework of your team. So I would say from a team defensive standpoint, maybe even try to mix in a little zone to try to throw some teams off. But Brad Stevens is going to have to get creative, and he's going to have to lean on Kemba Walker and Jason Tatum to score the ball, especially in crunch time in the last 3 minutes of the game.
Do you call in Kemba Walker and Marcus Smart individually and look them in the eye and say, now, right now, I need you now. Now is your time to step up. You have an opportunity here, and you fire them up, and you get a little look in their eyes like, all right, man, it's my time. We've seen Kemba Walker in college, for example, put a team on his back and ride that thing all the way to cutting down the nets. You can do it again. This is why we brought you here. This is why we gave you the max money. It is your time. It is your day. Do you do that, or is that just, high schoolish?
That's not high school, GK. They need to hear from you. I don't know. I think what you just said, that might be better than anything Brad Stevens could do. So you're right. You got to be able to fire them up, and there's no really rest for the weary. If those guys need a rest, then Brad just needs to call a timeout because they don't have – obviously they got some young kids on the bench, Neesmith that played at Vanderbilt, he can shoot the 3. But again, he's going to need to count on his 3 studs to play big minutes, take care of their bodies, not much practice time in between games. Those 3 guys that you mentioned, they're going to have to play 40-plus minutes because, again, this is a big, big hole that they're trying to fill with Jaylen Brown not being in the lineup. But if I'm you, if I'm the Boston Celtics, I would be calling EK to fire him up just like you did.
All right, but now it's just me and you and the team's gone. I look at you and say, all right, realistically, what's the best case scenario for the Celtics now? You say what?
I don't see them, winning in that play-in tournament. I just think it's tough. Their lack of depth, especially now without Jaylen Brown. They have 2 games left. Obviously, they're playing Miami again. Miami's trying to get informed. The last game of the season, they're playing the Knicks. The Knicks has been an outstanding team. Tom Thibodeau and Monty Williams from the Suns, I think, are two of the leaders in the clubhouse for a Coach of the Year. So I think this is a team that's easily going to have a hard time getting out of this play-in. And even if they make it into the NBA playoffs, this is a first-round exit team.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.